This is the Under the Ring Report. And now, the only wrestling podcasting host in the world who can slap a tornado and dry up the sea, John the Flesh Wound, and Cousin Tom.
All right, welcome, folks, to another edition of the Under the Ring Report. Tom, welcome as usual.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
We're going to make it easy again this week as we dig into the Under the Ring Report vault. So, when I say the Beast, what do you think of?
Well, given my age, the first Beast that I was aware of was Dan the Beast Severn.
Bingo, you win. So,
all right, what do I win?
Not a damn thing. So, but back in 1999, I had the privilege of interviewing Dan the Beast Severn, and we talked about his time in UFC and also in WWE. So this week, we're going to jump back in the old time machine and take a listen to this interview with Dan the Beast Severn.
Well, my actually beginnings began with the amateur sport of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Just like any other kid, just out to just trying various sports. Just tried wrestling, and seemed like wasn't an instant success by any means, but I enjoyed what I was doing, and just through a lot of hard work in that, it just paid off for itself.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, you set numerous national records, and you went on for Arizona State University.
Wrestled all through.
Yeah, regular wrestling too. Yeah.
All through high school,
Mm-hmm.
collegiate-wise, on a post-collegiate basis. I coached at Arizona State University, coached at Michigan State University. I mean, even now, I operate a 10,000 square foot training facility here in Coldwater, Michigan, and we run amateur wrestling classes a couple nights a week. We run professional wrestling classes a couple nights a week. And then we run the mixed martial arts, like the Ultimate Fighting Championships, a couple nights a week. So stay extremely busy.
Now, how did that jump you up, though, to the next level of doing shoot fighting and professional wrestling?
Well, I mean, it was something totally different. I mean, when I first saw like the Ultimate Fighting Championship tapes, it kind of blew my mind. Like, wow, you can do this type of competition here in the United States, and there were several martial arts magazines that actually had applications.
Yeah.
Did you want to be a UFC competitor? And I just simply fill out an application and sent it in, but no one ever called me back. I was told that they were probably being bombarded by 200 to 300 of these on a daily basis at that time, and I happened to be going out to Los Angeles on a professional wrestling card, and a couple phone calls were made on my behalf, and the promoter, Art Davey, came out to watch me in my match, and then afterwards conduct his own personal interview. And it was kind of ironic because he was first thing he says to me, says, "Well, you realize what we do is real, don't you?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Well, yes, I do." And he says, "Well, what's your professional fight record?" I said, "Well, I don't have one." He said, "Well, what's your amateur fight record?" I said, "Well, I don't have one of those either." And then he says, "When was the last time you actually been in a fist fight?" I said, "I don't know, second, third grade, maybe out on the playground."
Mm-hmm.
He laughs at me, and he says, "Have you actually seen our videotapes?" I said, "Well, sure I have." He says, "Well, what makes you think you can do well in one of our events, let alone be able to protect yourself?" And I said, "Well, granted, maybe I'm involved in the amateur sport of wrestling." I said, "But you'd be surprised what you can do when you have a foreign opponent on foreign soil and have a foreign referee. It'd be about as close to a Ultimate Fighting Championship match as you'll ever get." And that's kind of like where I began.
Gosh. And actually, you brought, when you came in with your wrestling skills to Ultimate Fighting, I believe that was in '94, correct?
Correct.
That was something they'd never seen before, and you pretty much took them by storm.
Definitely. If it would have been just strictly a stand-up game, which, I mean, you could utilize any skills you wanted to, whether it be stand-up, ground tactics. When I looked at it, I kept thinking, well, if they're close enough to work their magic, I know I'm close enough to work mine, and I know I can do mine from a lot further out than an arm's length or a leg's length. And, it really kind of just changed the whole face of martial arts as we see it today.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're also the only person ever to win the Triple Crown in Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
There's 3 different categories. I mean, I've won their individual tournament, 8-man tournament. They don't even do 8-man tournaments anymore. They, matter of fact, I think they're just simply down to doing something similar to boxing, where they do just regular a single match.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up winning one of the regulation tournaments. Then at the end of the year, actually their first Ultimate, which was a champion of champions type tournaments where they took the top 2 place finishers from all the previous Ultimate Fighting Championships, and then they clashed in this actually was like a 2-year anniversary other event, and ended up winning that. And then inevitably I was involved in a super bout with Ken Shamrock.
Oh, yeah.
The world's most dangerous man.
And you beat him.
And I now have this belt there, so John, I don't know exactly what that makes me anymore, but it means I got enough belts I got to dust off, you know?
How many belts do you have?
Actually, I hold 9 belts, one of which is actually from the world of professional wrestling. Everything else is in the mixed martial arts. I believe the record was held by a Japanese wrestler for about 16 years, was at 7. And his were, I believe, all professional wrestling belts. So, kind of puts me in yet another unique category, I would think.
Now, how did you get the name The Beast?
Well, it's nothing I said at night trying to think about. It was kind of bestowed upon me by Jim Brown, as a matter of fact, from the Ultimate Fighting Championships. From my first time that I actually competed out there to the second time, I made quite a transition. And in his closing remarks from my second tournament encounter, he was like, when the first time that Dan stepped into the ring, he was very clinical. He was very technical. Now he's headbutting, he's punching, he's kneeing, he's so aggressive, he's an animal, he's a beast. And that's basically how it came upon me. I just can't believe a guy could be so mild-mannered outside of a ring and yet turn on such ferocity inside. After that point in time, he said, you're like a sleeper. You just don't expect for you to have that type of ability.
Now, I think a lot of people are probably going to associate your name either with Ultimate Fighting or the World Wrestling Federation.
Correct.
How was your time there? And, just kind of explain a little bit what you did there.
Well, I could probably sum up saying it was kind of brief in essence, although I think the negotiation stage probably lasted longer than what the actual wrestling portion did. I mean, when they first contacted me, Shamrock wasn't even a picture.
Yeah.
During the course of those negotiations, he had actually signed me on to them. It took literally just about a year for us to reach terms. And like Shamrock gave up his ability to go on and continue to fight in the No Holds Bar arena and a number of other things. To me, it's like, I said, well, why are you even talking to me in the first place? It's because I am able to do these other things. So literally, when we finally came to terms, I didn't give up anything. I was still I was probably working for 30 plus different professional wrestling companies on top of working for 12 different fight companies. And they actually worked with me so well that I told them, if and when we ever even came to terms, I must honor out whatever I have on my book. And I mean, by the time we signed, I didn't go to work for them for almost 3.5 months later. Because I just had, it would be a token appearance here, a token appearance there, whatever would fit into my schedule. And even after that, I mean, I definitely told them, I said, I am definitely in the twilight of my fight career. I really don't see that much more longevity being there now, and I'll just be doing more and more transition to where, as I eliminate more of the NHB, and then I'll be moving into more of the professional wrestling.
And the thing was, too, is when you came in, they were already starting to move towards the less wrestling, more of the entertainment part.
Yeah, exactly. By the time I literally started to come on full time with them, I was obsolete.
Yeah, and I mean, how long were you actually with the Wrestling Federation?
Oh, my contract was for 2 years with an option on a third year. That's kind of like their basic contract that they instill.
Yeah.
But like I said, by the time I actually came on, I was obsolete. They were already going into this new attitude to where practically everybody's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether you're a bad guy to the first degree or he's a bad guy to the 10th degree, and I really did not want to be turned into a dark, sinister character because I do a lot of things in the public sector.
Well, yeah.
And I just don't want to have people come up, hey, you, blah, 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 told me this, that, and I'm thinking that. I don't need this that bad.
Well, and I mean, if you're associated with some products, I mean, it's kind of hurting your image and everything else, and it's just not worth it, is it?
I agree.
Yeah. And also, I mean, once you finally left the World Wrestling Fair, you continued doing your submission fighting and going around with the different organizations. What do you think, though, right now of the state of professional wrestling?
Well, it's at an all-time frenzy high, which is good. Yeah, as you stated, I mean, WWF is really not selling professional wrestling right now. They're selling characters and storylines, things of that nature. So, to me, when I watch some of the technique that is being performed out there, I simply refer to it as, well, it's not professional wrestling; it's professional punch and kick, because that's about all I really see out there.
Yeah.
And every now and then we'll get treated to an actual match, but I mean, for a long time it was WCW was known as, if you want to watch wrestling, go over and watch WCW. If you want to watch the various soap opera drama coming out, then turn over and watch WWF.
What kind of training do you have besides the wrestling background?
Well, funny as it sounds, I did take a judo class back in '76. But it was kind of just an advanced judo class. Is all I did. Most of my stuff is what I just would call on-the-job training.
Really? And just
I'm a pretty creative individual. Especially if you ask anyone inside of our training facility, when I get rolling around, I mean, I try a lot of different things. In the practice room, come match time, I try to utilize, my best stuff. But, it's like headbutts. I mean, how do you practice a headbutt? The first place you say, hey, John, come here, how does this one feel? Wasn't quite right there, Dan, let's try it again. You're not going to practice that kind of stuff.
It's just going to happen during the match and the
it
flow.
Is. Yet, one of my matches, I have delivered well over 300 headbutts.
Oh, my gosh.
It's where, I mean, his head swelled up so much, he had to be taken to emergency to have one of those CAT scans or something like that there, just to have his head checked out to see if there's any brain damage there. But me, I took about 3 ibuprofen, I was good to go.
What, right now, would you say is your professional shoot fighting record right now?
Couldn't
Any
tell you
idea?
that right now. I just
No
know
idea?
I've got basically 3 losses that the losses stick out in my mind more than the victories.
And the wins.
I've been a competitor since '68, and I've been trying to keep a calculator going right along, and I am very close. I might even be there for all I know, but I'm very close to the 4,000 mark.
Oh my gosh, that's phenomenal.
And I know it's under 80 losses, so that's a very good win-loss percentile.
Definitely.
And it's I've done as many as 17 matches in one day.
Okay. Last thing here, if someone's interested in doing some wrestling or maybe interested in shoot fighting, advice for them?
Well, when it comes to either or, professional wrestling or to be involved in the mixed martial arts style matches, I always tell people definitely, when they call here, I simply run to the format. What is your age, education, and what type of a job do you have? Because if they're under 18 years of age, I need to speak to mom or dad. If they're a high school dropout, I'll tell them, bring your GED equivalency to me. I said, then I'll think about training you. Because I tell them that your mind is going to take you a lot further places than what your mind. I'm a big preacher about education. If they're above 18 years of age and they have a job or something like that, they're more welcome to come in at that point in time. Because I always tell them, I said, you got to look at this as it's a hobby. And this hobby is going to cost you some money, and this hobby is going to injure you somewhere along the line. And they're just boggled that I say that kind of stuff. And I said, but that's the facts. Whether it's professional wrestling, I've actually been hurt far worse in professional wrestling than I have in all the no-holds-barred matches I've been involved in. But see, in professional wrestling, you have to put your body into somebody else's hands and hope they know what they're doing, because it's not them that's going to get hurt; it's you.
That's correct.
And that's what scares me about professional wrestling. in the no holds barred or mixed martial arts matches, all you got to do is go out there and get results. The world of sports entertainment, there, the risk factors are far greater, and some of the people you have to put your body into. I don't know if you put them on a brain scan, I think someone would draw a flat line.
Now, I think the best thing you just said there, though, too, is that it's a hobby.
Yeah.
Not a career. I think a lot of people go in the misconception that, oh, I'm going to become a wrestler and I'm going to make all this money, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it's not like that, is it?
Oh, I tell you what, I get that phone call almost on a daily basis. Like, well, I'm thinking about just quitting my job. I've been there for like the last 8 years doing this, and I'm only making maybe $40,000 a year or something like that. And I want to try this professional wrestling because I want to make millions. I said, I don't know who you're watching, who you think you're going to be here right now, but odds of that becoming, I mean, you got more of a chance of picking out the winning lotto ticket numbers than you do of achieving other success. There's a lot of phenomenal professional wrestlers that are wrestling out on the independent circuit that will literally wrestle in obscurity their entire life just because that break will never happen.
That's true.
I mean, I look at, I did some training with Al Snow. Al Snow had been a professional wrestler for, I think, 12 years before he finally was given any kind of a break whatsoever. So,
well, I think, though, too, he even went through like 2 or 3 different stints before something finally caught on.
Exactly. I think he was a couple of different characters.
Yeah.
Leaf Cassidy, Avatar, or something like that.
Yep.
And then came back with literally he was given to ECW for a while there, and they came up with this new image. I mean, but then there's other people that have been with WWF for years, and they've been half a dozen different characters. It's kind of funny how one week, they might have been Papa Shango, and then they come back the next week and, they're donning a pimp suit and stuff like this. They're somebody else.
I've always found that very funny, too, is because do they think that the audience is that dumb that they don't know who this person is? Or, I mean, do they just not care? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It boggles my mind. I think that same way. I'm like, wow. I don't know if they just don't care that they're insulting my intelligence here, but I mean, actually, he's having a better run right now as this character than any of the previous ones. So I mean, I'll admit that I think WWF has been very good about staying in tune with the times. That's true.
When anything is coming up hot or controversial, I mean, you're going to see it portrayed in some type of a show form right there, and that's what I think I've always enjoyed about that. How they've always been, whatever's hot off the press, they're going to incorporate it somehow.
Well, Dan, I want to tell you once again, thank you for taking the time to talk to us here on the Under the Ring Report. We really appreciate it.
Well, John, it's been a pleasure.
And is there any last words out there you just want to tell your fans?
Well, I've always said I've been a great appreciation of the fans that come out there and support, whether it's professional wrestling or involved in the mixed martial arts matches. If it wasn't for the fans, realistically, there wouldn't be any show. I mean, even when I was working at the WWF, the show would take place around 8 o'clock at night. I would grab I had a box of what I call website cards, but they actually had your names and credentials onto it, about the size of a business card. I'd go out around 4 o'clock, and I would simply shake hands, sign autographs, take pictures, tell a few token stories, and they're like, well, why doesn't so-and-so come out or this and that? I said, I can't speak for them. I said, I'm just out there doing my own thing. They're like, man, you're just so cool. You're the only guy that comes out there and does this stuff. And they said, well, why do you do it? I said, well, who pays my salary? I said, well, Vince McMahon does. I said, excuse me, who pays my salary? I said, look at all these people around you. You're the people that pay my salary. Because realistically, if you guys weren't here buying a ticket, I said, do you think Vince McMahon would have any money to pay me then? So I said, I have appreciation. I said, it's a two-way street here. I'm going to put forth my best performance for you guys, and you guys are just simply going to either cheer or boo from that point on.
All right, well, that'll do it for this week's show. Glad everyone enjoyed the flashback with Dan Severn. Don't forget to subscribe to the show. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook. We have a Facebook group, which we're more active in, so we'll be happy to have you join. And we look forward to hearing from you in the future, and look forward to the next show on the Under the Ring Report.
This is Dan the Beast Severn, 3-time Ultimate Fight Champion, and you're listening to Under the Ring Report.
Follow the Under the Ring Report on Twitter at UTRR Podcast. You can subscribe to the Under the Ring Report on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, or visit undertheringreport.com. Thanks for listening to the Under the Ring Report.